What do you make of last night's result and what that could possibly do to Sam Darnold's value going into free agency?
It was really a couple games because they also lost to Detroit and he didn't play his best football. So the question then becomes if you have a player who plays spectacular football during the year and then has a less than par performance, which is the real player? Football greatness is judged by ability to get to the playoffs, win in the playoffs, and get to the Super Bowl. But, and usually the question is, if not him, who? So having a quarterback like that who played so magnificently, you'd say, well, we weren't pleased with his performance in a couple of the last games, but he's certainly won a lot for us and we'd keep him. They happen to have a first round draft pick in McCarthy sitting behind him, who before the development of Darnold was going to be their franchise quarterback. And it's impossible to win in contemporary football without a franchise quarterback. Um, so Darnold was so good during the year that I think the temptation is to say that's Sam Darnold and he just had a bad game.
So you think overall that the past 2 weeks, the Lions game and especially the Rams game, won't really affect him too much when it comes to getting a new contract?
Well, it puts them in the situation of making a choice. Either they re-sign Darnold at premium figures, or they completely cut ties with him and move on to McCarthy. Now, prior to the last couple of games, the whole league felt that Darnold would get a blockbuster type contract long term, and he was the solution, and McCarthy would probably be traded. Now I think they'll go through a period of reflection, but you can't discount how superbly he played during the regular season. And the temptation would be to try to see what went wrong in those last couple games and to stick with him.
So really, what you're saying to the Vikings is to look at the bigger picture here and not just have that recency bias and have that bad taste in their mouth, and to really consider him still as the franchise quarterback.
I think so at the end of the day, because if you take his whole body of work, it it played very well. And he was every bit a franchise quarterback. He lit it up during the season. So now he had a tough game against Detroit. But remember, that's Detroit. And then last night had a subpar performance. So they're not happy about that. They don't think that it's a great reflection because you're supposed to elevate your level of play in the playoffs. But having said that, I think that Minnesota is a great organization. They make very prudent decisions, and I would guess that they'll keep Darnold. Just started a concussion foundation to focus on awareness, prevention, and cure because it's an issue I've been working on for 30 years, the specter of athletic concussion. And the new news we have is that it's finally possible through neuroplasticity to heal a concussed brain. So for years and years, the thought had been once a player suffers a TBI, it was a slippery slope down to Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and premature senility and chronic traumatic encephalopathy, and there was no cure. But now neurofeedback and a process called TMS have been shown successful. So it's exciting news. So this foundation will raise money for research. This foundation will help at-risk people without the money to pay for brain treatment and hopefully make an impact.